So one of the questions we get asked a lot on the website is, can I get a heat pump to work in an older home? In the UK, a lot of us live in older houses. Around 80% of our housing stock is actually built before 1980, and around 20% is built before the Second World War. So as a country, we do have a lot of older homes, and those homes are just, not as energy efficient as modern ones are. So let's look at some of the key differences between a heat pump and a gas boiler. Now, heat pumps, the good news about them is that they can be up to 5 times more energy efficient than a gas boiler. But one of the things we need to consider with a heat pump is that it's always going to run, or a normal heat pump will run at a lower flow temperature than a gas boiler. A gas boiler is designed to output heat at around 65-70 degrees centigrade, whereas a typical standard heat pump will output heat at around 40 to 50 degrees centigrade. So that's factor number one. Factor number two is that a heat pump is not designed to switch on and off like a gas boiler is. With a gas boiler, we put it on in the morning before we go to work, it goes off, we come back at night, it comes on, we go to bed, it goes off. With a heat pump, it's very different. It might come down during the day and during the evening, but it's not designed to switch on and off like that. It takes a longer time to heat your house and heat your water. So looking at those two issues, let's look at 2 important factors that will make your heat pump run brilliantly in an older home and keep you nice and toasty during those winter months. The first thing is that because the heat pump is running at a lower temperature, we need to make sure that the heat is distributed throughout our home in the right way, and enough heat is actually distributed that's going to keep us nice and warm. Now, most people in the UK use radiators to convect heat in their houses. If you have a radiator system which was installed for a gas boiler, it's quite likely that you will need to upgrade those radiators to work with a heat pump. Now, we have loads of information on our website about the radiators and what kind of radiators will work best with a heat pump, and I do encourage you to go there to have a look. But typically you'll need to have radiators which are effectively more powerful and are used to running or can cope with a lower flow temperature. If you have underfloor heating, that's fantastic, because wet underfloor heating will work beautifully with a heat pump. It will distribute that heat over a larger surface area, and it will work brilliantly with a lower flow temperature that a heat pump is likely to output. The second thing you'll need to consider if you live in an older house is the question of insulation and energy efficiency. Now, older homes are just not as energy efficient as newer homes. And there are a couple of areas where you will need to look at and perhaps make some changes. The first is your windows and doors. So a lot of heat in a house is lost through the windows and doors. If you have single glazing, that's a total no-no with a heat pump. You're going to lose way too much heat outside of your home, and you will need to upgrade to modern double glazing. If you do have double glazing but it's quite old, you may also need to upgrade that double glazing, because modern double glazing standards are very different to what they were maybe 20-30 years ago. Loft insulation, you should really be looking at least 270 millimeters of loft insulation. It isn't difficult to upgrade loft insulation, generally speaking. It's quite an easy thing to do, but it's something that you probably will need to do if you don't have that sort of maximum possible that you really want to have. And the last thing really you may need to look at, which tends to be the more difficult thing in an older home, is whether you'll need some kind of upgrade to the external walls of your houses. We've got some more information about this on the website, but typically modern houses are built with a cavity wall and then the insulation within that cavity wall. Older houses are either built with no insulation in the cavity, or a smaller cavity, or in some cases no cavity at all, which means a lot of heat will get lost through the external walls of your home. And again, your heat pump will be struggling to heat you in the winter months. So we've got lots of information on the website. I do encourage you to go and look at that, because this can be quite a important factor, but also quite a big thing to do to your house if you are considering installing a heat pump in it. So that's it really. You can, just to summarize, you can get a heat pump to work in an older home. It will do. There are plenty of people around who have done so. It does potentially require a few alterations to your house. We have loads of fantastic information on the website about this. I do encourage you to go there, www.weloveheatpumps.com. You'll find lots of fantastic information about heat pumps, from installation to cost to everything. And we'll see you on the next video.